not new, you know the vibe. My name's Emily. I am currently stuck at home with COVID and I have nothing else better to do, so why not sit down and film a video. A little disclaimer, number one, you are going to see the glare of my ring light and my glasses. Until I get contacts, that's going to be a continuous issue, and I'm sorry about that in advance. Number two, this room is echoey because this is my boyfriend's old room, and there is absolutely zero in it besides this messed up chair and the refrigerator, the mini fridge that I have this sitting on. So for today's video, I had this idea, and it's been an idea that I've had for a while, and it is things you should know before you move out. And the reason I have this idea is because there are a lot of things that I did not take into consideration before I moved out, or that I knew were a thing, but I didn't realize how hard they would hit me when I did move out. Yeah, so I wrote everything down. I wrote some key points that I thought I would talk about, and then I wanted to share my own experience because it's a lot. By the way, you guys, I know y'all saw it at the beginning of the video. Do y'all see my new intro? Ooh, girl. Give a round of applause to Haley. That's my bestie. I'm gonna put her Instagram right here. Y'all should definitely go follow her because that's my bestie. I love her. So, first things first. Before moving out, I really want to talk to y'all about this. Make sure that you are 100% serious about it. Make sure that you know every single thing that you are getting yourself into. Make sure you know what comes with it. And please, 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 please mentally prepare, because living alone or even living with roommates, it can be lonely. It can be really lonely. It can feel isolating even. And I know you're thinking, Emily, you have roommates. No, it can still be such a lonely feeling, and I remember feeling like that a lot. And I had 2 roommates. There was constant people coming in and out of the house, and I still felt alone. My boyfriend would come over, I could be sitting there with him and my best friend, and I still felt incredibly alone. And that was just because I felt like I was alone in my struggles, in my financial struggles and life and everything. And that's what really kind of messed it up for me almost. So like I said, before you move out, make sure you're 100% ready. And when it comes to me, I wanted to be independent. I wanted to grow up really fast. And now, if there's anything that 2021 taught me, it's that don't grow up fast. Life is so short, and you might as well live in the moment. When you are talking about moving out, the very first thing that I'm going to tell you about, saving money. And what helped me save money and what helped me kind of build up the money that I needed. So when it came to saving money, I am terrible at saving money. There is a gnat in here and it's starting to piss me off. I'm terrible at saving money. I am a fast food junkie. I love fast food, and that is definitely one of my toxic traits. Anytime that I can find an opportunity to get fast food, definitely do it, because I don't feel like cooking. I don't like to cook. When it came down to me getting an apartment, I got very, very serious about it. I started saving money like hell. I only ate out when I needed to eat out. And if I had any money left over, either which were stuff for the apartment, stuff I direly needed right then and there, or gas, because bitch, gotta get to work. And I had about, I signed my lease for my apartment in June. I was moved in August. Yeah, I was saving money like hell. I was, working at Walgreens at the time, and I was getting maybe $400 every 2 weeks, So I would take 200 of it, put it back, and the other 200 would go to things I needed. And if I felt like putting more back, I would. And my boyfriend at one point, he kind of sat me down. He was like, you can use a little bit of that money on yourself. And I never did. So, but with saving money, one of my very, very big things that kind of got me into overthinking my bills and thinking I was going to be able to pay them was me thinking that I had to use one paycheck for every single one of my bills, which meant rent, car payment, phone bill, whatever else I needed to pay. I thought I had to use one paycheck for all of it. Clearly that's not the case. I got 2 paychecks a month, sometimes 3 depending on the month. And those months that I got 3 paychecks in a month were really nice, because obviously I really didn't have to worry about struggle with those months. I would always find more ways to make a hustle. So if that meant door dashing on the side, or I worked at a bar at the time. I would go work at the bar a night or two a week, make maybe $100, $200, and then I'm good for rent. And like, that's one thing that really helped. Yeah, I would go any way I can make a hustle, I'd make one. Any way I can make money, I do it. And that's really why I picked up a second job. I enjoyed having 2 jobs. Most people don't, but I did. And that's just because I love the environment that the bar provided. And I don't work there anymore, but if y'all are watching this, anybody from the bar, I love you guys still. And when I turn 21 next year, I would definitely be coming in. The next thing I want to touch on is apartment hunting. Whenever you're looking for a place, whenever you are kind of, you know, looking at everything, there are things that I looked at when I was apartment hunting, and it was the area, and I looked at the reviews on the internet, because those are 2 big important things. I asked people about it who possibly knew about the apartment complex in general. Luckily for me, I had a friend who lived out there, so like obviously I had somebody to count on if I ever needed advice or something was going on with the complex. They could relate because they lived there. But that's not the case for everybody. But I would look at the reviews. I'd look at the area that it's in. And I remember saying before I started apartment hunting, I was like, I do not want to live in downtown. Like, I don't want to live in downtown, because the area that I live in, downtown, is always packed on the weekends. It is terrible on the weekends, and any other day of the week, it does not matter. Nobody knows how to drive over there. I have flat out seen so many cars go down a one-way the wrong way. But the apartment I ended up finding was in a good part of downtown, and it was like an 8-minute walk, I think, from like all the clubs and stuff like that. So not many of the people who were clubbing at night on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, were not coming over to our area, because obviously they were an 8-minute walk. Another thing with an apartment hunting, take an in-person tour if you can. When I say I strongly suggest taking an in-person tour, I feel like you get more in depth about what you're looking at. They can't really promise you all of these things, and then you get there and you're like, oh, well, I was promised this, I was promised that, I was promised that. My roommate had that incident happen, and I think she did do an in-person tour, or maybe she didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't do an in-person tour, I think. And they told her there was hardwood floors in the bedrooms. There was not. There was carpet. Which obviously our move-in date, she was kind of upset because she was told there was going to be a hardwood floor everywhere, and there was not. So, and the only reason she was really worried about that is because she has a cat. When you are apartment hunting, please do not sit here and be like, okay, I make $800 a month, so I'm going to go for an $835 a month apartment, bitch. No, because, okay, granted, let's say that 1 month you work hella hard, you work all month, every single day for those 2 weeks, and you bring home a fucking $500 paycheck, and then the next week you bring home a $900 paycheck.
Declining, and I was just ready to leave, and then
I definitely meant to say 400. Let's not acknowledge how much of a fucking idiot I am. It's COVID brain. Okay, that's your rent. Okay, let's take into consideration you have people out here who have car payments. You have people who out here who are obviously paying car insurance, their phone bill, groceries, basic fucking necessities. Like, you need to take every single one of those things into consideration, because you are gonna fuck yourself. Like, really, you're gonna fuck yourself if you don't. And that's another thing I did not take into consideration, was all of my bills. I did not take them into consideration. So that ended up screwing me in the end. Explore your options. Please explore your options, babe, because it's really easy to go to this first apartment and you're like, oh my god, I love it, and then automatically choose it and not explore any other options. That's what I did. I'm not gonna lie to you, I immediately chose the first one I looked at. And I'm not dissing this apartment complex, I'm not saying that they are bad in general, but it wasn't the best one. It really wasn't. It was not the best option for me, and I feel like I could have done 10 times better. So that goes along with that. When you finally decide on a place and you're like, yes, I want this one, it is in my budget, I can afford it, you know, on top of my other bills, I can afford it, I know I can do it. When you are signing that lease, and I mean this, and I want you to look me dead in my eyes. I want dead eye contact, okay? Read that lease. I mean, in depth, read that lease. Word for fucking word, read it. Because, bitch, if you don't, you're gonna miss something. And that's exactly what my dumbass did, and we'll get into that later. There could be a catch, there could be something that you don't know about, that you need to know about, that could fuck you over. This is gonna sound crazy, but ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. I know I did. I bet I called up there at least 3 times a week asking different questions because I had so many. And trust me, they might get annoyed with you, but at the end of the day, you're helping yourself. Get any issues fixed before you move in. I cannot emphasize that enough. Cannot get any issues fixed. Whenever we had our move-in day, our AC was broken. It was broken. Like, it was hot as hell, like dead summer hot. Like, it was bad, and we were all obviously moving things, and we're sitting here sweaty and hot, and we're like, ew. And it doesn't help when you have people coming in and out of the apartment either. So, and then I think literally 2 days later, our fire alarm was broken. So, like I said, anything that you go in there and you notice that is not fixed, tell them to fix it. They can only be but so mad and so irritated, because at the end of the day, if they want your money, they need to accommodate you. This isn't going to apply to everybody, but ask about pets. I have 2 guinea pigs, obviously. Don't tell my apartment complex this, but I did not tell them that I had 2 guinea pigs. And not to mention, I don't see why I would need to pay a $300 pet deposit on a guinea pig that stays in a cage. But, you know, to each their own. Ask about pets, see how much that pet deposit is going to be. Let's talk about roommates. I lived in student living. From my very first apartment, I lived in student living. And I had 2 amazing roommates. Like, beautiful. I love them. I still talk to them now. They're fucking, I adore them. Truly, I adore them. And if they are watching this, I love you. And I feel like having roommates was really, really fun. Like, I had somebody to relate to, because I had people who were going through the same things as me, who were experiencing the same struggles. And it was nice. And, you know, it really helps to have roommates. And I'm not saying that it's the same way for everybody who has roommates, because I've seen some roommate horror stories. One thing about one of my roommates is, one of my roommates liked to go out a lot. Me and my roommates were definitely different from each other. One of my roommates, she was very introverted, didn't really like people all that much. Like, she stayed to herself. She didn't go out and party, she didn't drink, she didn't smoke, she didn't do nothing. She was very, very introverted, and I think it's partially to blame because of the way she grew up, which is fine, because some people do grow up like that, and that's okay. My other roommate, she loved to party, she loved to drink, she loved to smoke, she did all of that. She was all around a party girl, and which, again, perfectly okay with me, because I didn't really have many instances where her partying got on my nerves. It was mainly some of her friends. And with me, obviously, I'm kind of an introvert, kind of an extrovert. I'll do both. Like, I can socialize. I mainly had friends over. I don't really go out like that, like partying. But I would get home late occasionally. So, you know, just respect each other. Have that kind of mutual understanding. Sit down and talk to your roommates when y'all first move in, and kind of set some ground rules, set some boundaries. Let each other know, like, this is what I don't like. Like, me, I like my Cokes. I love my Coca-Cola. That is the one thing I am very stingy about. I told them from the jump, I was like, if you want one, ask me. I was like, but please don't just take one, especially if it's my last one and my mouth's watering for it. Please just ask, you know, because I'm stingy about those. Another thing that I want to share with you guys was kind of my experience having such different roommates, and like one of like the kind of more troubled moments that we had. Me and my roommates, we never argued, ever. We never argued. If we ever felt like something was wrong, we addressed it. And that was the one thing I was really blessed with, was to have roommates who were willing to address things and willing to talk about them and not just wanting to fucking argue. There was one night that I can remember very specifically. I had just gone to lay down. It was like 3 in the morning, and obviously, I think it was like a Saturday or Friday night, so they went out. And my roommate, whenever she would have her friends over to get ready or to do anything, there would be like 4 or 5 of them at a time. Most of her friends were introduced to me within the first week of living there, so I knew most of them. There was one in particular that I really, really clicked with. Her name was Emily. And we were the same height. She was shorter than me, actually, and we clicked like that. And I love her to death. And Emily, if you're watching this, I love you. You know, I clicked with her almost automatically, and she knew my vibe. She knew how I was, and so did my obvious. So did my roommate. It was around 3 in the morning. My boyfriend and our best friend were laying on the couch. They were going to bed. And I went in my room and I lay down on the bed. And like I said, it was 3 in the morning. The guys were staying up so they could play the game. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. So I go and lay down. And I'm about halfway asleep. And then I hear screaming. Like, I heard them come in, but then I hear screaming, like blood-curdling screams. And I am like, dude, it's 3 a.m. Like, you would have thought somebody was fucking dying. Like, I'm not even kidding. So obviously, I go out of the room, and I am immediately greeted by Emily. And she just, my face, if there's one thing, if I do not say it, my face will. So if it does not physically come out of my mouth, expect this to tell you all you need to know. As I came out of the room, I was immediately greeted by her, and I gave her a hug. And she was like, were you asleep? And I was like, almost. And she was like, I'm so sorry. So obviously she goes and she tells them. And I'm talking, when I came out, all I saw was a girl laying on the floor fucking screaming. I don't know why she was screaming, but she was screaming. In particular, I did not like this girl very much. So it was one of my roommate's friends that I didn't care for. I didn't like her vibe. I didn't like her. So, yeah, she was just fucking blood-curdling scream. And it was pissing me off. And I was like, I'm trying to sleep. So Emily told them to, like, quiet down. And they were all like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. You know, like, I'm not mad. I was mad. But me being the non-confrontational person that I am, I was just letting it go. I ended up talking to my roommate the next morning, telling her, like, yeah, that shit can't happen again. Like, dude, like, I was so mad. And she was like, no, like, I'm sorry. And, like, you know, it won't happen again. And it didn't. It didn't happen again after that. Budgeting. This goes along with saving money, and I should have talked about it when I was talking about saving money, but I forgot. With budgeting, it's kind of hard, and honestly, I'm still learning how to budget, but I learned to cut out fast food a lot. I definitely learned to cut out fast food while I lived by myself. I mainly ate at home, and if I did eat fast food, it was on the rare occasion that I, you know, went out and got it. I stopped going in stores looking for what I wanted and more of what I needed. If I did buy something for myself, it was because I felt down and I felt like I needed to pick me up, and so I'd buy something for myself, and that was pretty much it. And like I said, budgeting is hard, but it comes with time, and you're going to fucking struggle before you can finally figure out how to budget right, which is perfectly okay because everybody does. And now I kind of want to touch on my experience and what I went through as far as having my own place and why I am no longer there. Like I said, I have always grown up very, very independent. I grew up in a rather not financially stable household, I guess you can say. It was hard. So like I learned that every bit of money that I got needed to be spent correctly, and that's what I learned over time. And I learned the value of money and what you can do with it. So like I said, I grew up in a household where money wasn't a very big thing. And I remember sitting there from the time I turned 16 to the time I turned 18. I'm gonna get out of this house when I turn 18. I'm so ready. I've got this. I'm getting out. I'm done. Goodbye. You know, peace out. I'm never talking to y'all again. Like, kind of shit. You know, the shit that a moody 16-year-old would say. I think it was around, I turned 18 October of 2020, and I was out of my parents' house by, well, I was technically out of my parents' house by December of 2020 because I lived with my boyfriend, but I was completely moved out on my own by June 2021. Or, no, August 2021. I'm sorry. It was August. So that was when I was like completely on my own, you know, paying my own bills, doing my own thing. Not that I wasn't paying my own bills before that, but you get the point. So I was very serious about it, and I took it very serious, but I feel like I rushed into it. By a landslide, I rushed into it, and I was so excited to do my own thing and to have my own place, and I made a lot of dumb decisions in the process, and that's okay because it was a learning experience. Honestly, I learned that some people have it a lot worse than me, Some people are months behind on rent, and meanwhile, I was never a month behind. I always had it figured out. Regardless of everything, I always had it figured out. And I was struggling a lot. Like, my mom was buying my groceries. Thanks, Mom, because you did not have to do that. I was struggling to pay my car payment. I was struggling to pay my phone bill. I was struggling to pay everything at once. And I feel like I put on this very happy front for a lot of time that I was in my apartment. I was only there from like August until beginning of November. I put on a very happy front, a very happy face, and it was never that. I remember I'd go out and I'd get home and like I sit in my room and I'd be sad. Or my boyfriend would come over and my best friend would come over and I'd be so happy, and then the minute they left, I'd be sad again. And I felt so alone. Like, I was just, the minute everybody left or the minute I got by myself, it was just this flood of emotions, and it was like bad. And my birthday came up in October, and it seemed like everything was going really good. I felt like I was getting on my feet. And then it got closer to the time that rent was due. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot do this. And luckily for me, my apartment offers subleasing. So I decided to sublease my place. And I got stupid lucky, my dude. Like, I got stupid lucky. This girl, she was a friend of my roommates, a co-worker of my roommates, said she wanted it. And she decided to take over the lease. And I truly cannot thank her enough, because she got me out of a very crappy situation, and it sucked. Not to mention, in October, I also quit Walgreens. I have a story time up about that. If y'all want to go see it, I will link it in the description so y'all can go watch it. It is about why I left. I had left Walgreens at the beginning of October, and obviously I don't have that pay anymore. The bar is not going to do it, and DoorDash, like, I was so mentally exhausted and so drained and, like, honestly borderline depressed that I did not want to get out of bed. I did not want to go anywhere. I did not want to do anything. And it was at that point that I just knew, like, this isn't what's going to be right for me. So I got my lease taken over, and I moved out, and I moved back to my mom's, and now I am living with my boyfriend, and we are turning his mom's basement into a mini apartment. And it's been great. I've been happy. I have been experiencing some struggles, obviously, because I now have a lower paying job, and which I cannot only complain about but so much, but because I love the job. It's basically one of my favorite jobs I've ever had, and I could not be more thankful that I get to do something that I love every single day. And I love the environment, I love the people, and I love the dogs I get to work with. It's great. But I still actually found myself overthinking the other night, because I was like, this paycheck that I'm getting is not going to be that big. And then I start school. I was supposed to start today, which obviously with me having COVID, I can't start today. But I was like, I'm supposed to start today, and like, it's a 45-minute drive there and back every single day. And like, that's over 200 miles a week for 4 days. Like, like, I don't know where I'm going to get that money and pay my bills. And like, then I was starting to come up with things in my head, and like, I was starting to overthink, and that does nothing for me. It gets me absolutely nowhere but stressed. And so I calmed myself down, and I was like, you'll figure it out. You always do. You'll figure it out. If there's anything that I take from my experience with moving out and then having to move back out because I was not ready, it's a lesson learned. It was something that humbled me almost. Like, I don't know how to say it, but like, I was getting cocky. I was like, oh bitch, like, I got this. Like, I'm 18 years old with my own place. Like, fuck all y'all. Like, blah 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 blah. Like, talking my mess. And life humbled me quick. It humbled me, bitch. Very very quickly. And she said, sit down. Sit down, bitch. You're not ready. Like, I'm gonna show you what's up. So yeah, I feel like I definitely learned that you don't need to grow up so fast. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be places that you can move to. There's always going to be something. But live with your parents for as long as you possibly can. Like, I'm not saying live with your parents up until your 40s or your 30s. Like, but, live with them as long as you can, because it'll be easier on you in the long run. That's my advice to you. Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. This was a video that I had thought about making when I was in my apartment in August. obviously now with the knowledge that I have, I was able to deliver a much more important message. So I'm very happy about that. I want to thank you for all the love that I have been shown on my previous videos. It's insane, especially on my last one. I got a lot of feedback from it. Not my last one, but the one before that, the story time. I got a lot of feedback on that. It was amazing and it was great and I enjoyed it. I also want to thank you guys for like 23 subscribers. Like, that's fucking cool. So it's just nice to know that like I have 23 people who are like actually like watching my shit, you know? If you enjoyed today's video, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below more stories or more things that you want to see on my channel, because God, I have a lot. I have plenty of stories to tell, and I always have something that I'm doing because I'm an idiot. So turn those post notifications on, and I will see you guys in the next one.